Hello, welcome to Holistic Living University and our first broadcast from the garden. It's exciting, it's exhilarating to think we're in the middle of winter. It's the 7th of January, and I hope all of you have had an amazing time to review your last year, 2018, how you spend it, the many experiences that you had, the many things you could learn from it, both in the garden, your private life and relationships, in the world, your work, wherever it would be. Today we're going to focus on the garden, our own relationship to nature, the cosmos, the earth, which is here already to a certain extent prepared for the first sowings. So just to orientate you, 7th of January, it's supposed to be middle of winter, cold temperatures, freezing at night, the crystal clear nights. If we look at the sky, we see gray. It's a very quiet day, a little bit of a breeze, maybe 2-3 knots of wind up there. Very warm indeed. I do have my hat on, my cap, just to keep that chill away from my bare head. But no gloves necessary. It was a bit cooler yesterday. I was actually slaughtering a deer that I picked up, making sure we've got the supply of good meat for the year. Enjoyed the heart to get the strength and courage and the power to get into this new year. So here we are. It's 9 degrees centigrade. If you look around, the grass is growing as if it was spring. It's amazing. Plants are flourishing right now that are supposed to actually only flourish in February, March. Azaleas, Mahonia, Helleborus, I know flowers a little bit earlier usually, but they're all out. The daffodils are getting ready to shoot out with their flower heads. The flower heads are all ready to open. We have viburnums and many other things that are getting ready. The buds on the hazels are bursting. The catkins are almost ready to open to pollinate, which is much too early. The other day I was sitting on the bench here in front of a hut, and the bees were out, the hoverflies were out. 3-4 varieties actually came up and joined me reading the book on the nature of substance. So much too warm. The sun, when it does come out, is exceedingly hot. It's almost like April, May sun. So unseasonally warm, growing, expansive forces of growth, instead of this quiet time that we usually know from maybe 30-40 years ago. Would have been snow right now, frost, even through the day, constant frost, not permafrost deep down, but just the surface. And here, when we look now, even on this bed, there was grass growing, the weeds were growing. I pulled it actually off with what we know as a Dutch shuffle hoe, which I'm going to just show you quickly here. You shuffle it over the ground. Let's see if I can get it in here. Back and forth like this, and get the weeds off or get the clods broken down. It's an amazing tool to just do light work on the beds. And so I prepared this bed about a week ago, taking off the grass, the weeds, or the wild plants I should call them, because there was chickweed in there, which I love eating in the winter for its rich magnesium content and enriching the blood, which at this time it's so hard to get green leaves that are fresh from the garden, from out of doors. And well, I'm getting ready to actually today risk to grow garlic. You see the garlic cloves here ready to be planted out in this well-prepared bed. I'm going to have to rake it down and make it smooth. I'm going to slightly shape it in a a roundish form, so they catch more heat of the sun to warm it up, to dry it out faster, to raise the metabolism. I did actually fork this area over after I was weeding, and as I was forking it over, I was kicking it with the foot on the fork, kicking the soil up into shape, and now I just need to rake it into place to shape it nicely. Put my 3 rows of garlic in on a 1.20 meter bed, which is every 30 centimeters I have a row of garlic. And then even there's some leek left still, if you can see it here. That's a leek from the previous season. Must have been planted very late, it's very small. And there's also still some Swiss chard that's really growing well. And if you want to risk it at this time, because for next week, weather forecast is very mild. Temperatures are going to probably in the southeast of England and even in Scotland, Edinburgh, I checked it out, be between 4-5 degrees and 9, even 10, 11 degrees, which is unusually warm. And that would signify that the soil actually is at a temperature where things can germinate. It's been very dry, so we don't have to worry about rotting seed. No major rain forecast, maybe some drizzles. These clouds that are coming in from the northwest, northeast over the British Isles don't carry much moisture. We need to worry if it comes from the southeast. And we can see that the soil is very dry. I mean, I was digging some of this soil here, which you can see the dark color on the soil. But in some areas, you can see how it's actually very dry. And there were winds the last few days and sunshine, so that dried it out. As I raised the soil and brought up new soil, it's moistened. I hope there's enough moisture actually to have the garlic roots take, because it takes a certain amount of moisture. Don't need to be saturation point, but just enough moisture. I might have to water, extraordinary to think to water in January. What's the moon doing and the stars? I have put it in the notes underneath this video. You will see what's happening with the planets. I will not go into those details, but just to let you know that the moon is actually right now let me see, it's gone into the goatfish, which some people know as Capricorn, but in biodynamic gardening and farming we use the constellations, so I call them by their name, English name rather than their Latin name. So we distinguish the constellations from the signs. So moon in goatfish is a earth sign. So garlic bulbs or anything to do with green manures, if you want to enhance the fixing of nitrogen in legumes, is a good time of sowing. Otherwise, wait until the middle of the week. The moon is going to go into the water carrier, which is a light air sign. And you can then enhance the whole growth and flowering above ground. Get stalk formation and fast growth for your green manures if you want to get them out early in the spring. And later in the week, we're going to have the moon go into the fishes on Friday. So anything with leafy vegetables, if you think of working your greenhouse, heated or unheated, I mean right now unheated greenhouse, if you protect the plants well, bubble wrap or whatever to make sure that the cool nights don't lose much moisture and, warmth, and then not losing moisture in the day when the sun comes out. Make sure you can sow right now lettuces into seed flats. You could sow radishes or spinach in your greenhouse on the soil. That, for example, here in this greenhouse, you see the soil exposed inside. It's very dry. We will have to irrigate. Just remember, anything you do, this is also a time to establish your irrigation systems. Make sure you got drainage. The other day, Saturday, I was in Forest Row in the allotment gardens, and we did a soil spit, dug down about 2.5 foot and hit water. So the water table's very high there if in low-lying areas where there are rivers or brooks. And it's flat and no outlet of the water, so make sure that you get drainage in. Deep-rooting plants, agricultural chicory, for example, or lucerne, alfalfa when it gets warmer. is a wonderful one to take that the moisture out and evaporate it. But right now, we don't have to worry about that, it looks like. So, having said all that, I think I'm going to get ready for getting that garlic in before it gets too dark, because now it's the afternoon. You can see the light conditions are appalling in a way with this not too thick a cloud cover, but it's enough to keep the sunlight out. And I need to do some other things also. So it's interesting. I don't know how you feel about the seasons. Today, for me, it's actually more like a March day without the strong winds. There's the saying about March coming in like a lamb, going out like a lion. So it's certainly one of those lamb days where it's a warmish feeling. You have no moisture, precipitation, no foggy or misty weather, although the humidity right now is 88%. It's not noticeable, maybe a bit damp. If the wind would pick up, wind chill would be very noticeable. But it's a day where you go, oh man, I just want to sow all these plants, but hold the horses. We're not even in the middle of winter. We've just started. We're just 2.5 weeks into winter officially, since the winter solstice. So I would recommend you might take the risk, get your green manures in outside, get your broad beans in when the right time is happening with the constellations and the moon. So gotta wait possibly another week for that, when the moon is going to go into the Ram, which is a fire warmth constellation. So we'll announce that next week. And in the meantime, I wish you happy gardening, happy enjoyment of these warm temperatures while you can, because midwinter usually comes February, so the coldest temperatures will be expected then. Frosts, heavy frosts, clear skies, crystal clear nights, new formative forces coming in. I'm looking forward to see you on our next broadcast next week. It will be posted on Holistic Living University, and only people have signed up for the year gardening course, the 7 modules, will get this for free. Or others can always sign up to get a membership for £10 per month, which is a giveaway, to get a coaching guidance right through the year, what to do in the garden, how to relate to the moon cycles, the rhythms in the stars, a lot of write-ups. And as a bonus, you'll get also the latest podcast material and broadcasts and interviews that we're gathering from around the world, relating to health, fitness, exercise, healing, and also doctors sharing their latest insights and experiences in how to take care of chronic illnesses, and of course how to prevent them. Not the least, nutritionists that will tell us how to actually take care of our health while we're still well, or when we have chronic illness, how to get us into a balanced state again. So I'm looking forward to share all this on this site, the Holistic Living University private group in Facebook, and we'll expand into other platforms where people can get amazing material in forms of manuals, ebooks, etc. Looking forward to also see you in real life, in the gardens, learning, experiencing, experimenting, exploring, and hopefully also opening the soil in your own gardens. So looking forward to see you next week, and have a blessed week. Lots of love, and over.